Where do hair loss genes come from? Mapping your family's pattern baldness history. Hair loss has puzzled scientists and researchers for generations, leading to extensive studies of its genetic origins. Recent genetic mapping research shows that hair loss stems from multiple inherited genes working together, rather than a single gene passed down from parents. Scientists have identified several genes linked to hair loss patterns, with the APCDD1 gene pathway playing a key role in how hair grows and falls out. Genetic factors combine with environmental influences to determine when and how hair loss occurs. This interaction helps explain why family members might experience different patterns of hair loss despite sharing similar genes. Multiple inherited genes work together to cause hair loss instead of a single gene. Environmental factors interact with genes to influence the timing and pattern of hair loss. Scientists have identified specific gene pathways that control hair growth and loss. Hair loss has strong genetic roots that can be passed down through families. Genetic factors affect hair growth cycles and determine how hair follicles respond to hormones like androgens. Scientists have identified several genes that play key roles in hair growth and loss patterns. When these genes don't work properly, they can cause hair follicles to become more sensitive to hormones that trigger hair loss. The inheritance pattern for hair loss is complex. A person may inherit multiple genetic variations from both parents that influence their likelihood of experiencing hair loss. Research on hair follicle development shows that genetic factors work together with hormones and other biological processes to control hair growth. This explains why hair loss patterns can vary significantly among family members. Pattern hair loss has strong genetic links that pass through family lines. Scientists have found specific genes that control hair growth and loss patterns. Inheriting hair loss genes. The MC1R gene plays a key role in hair characteristics and loss patterns. When parents carry hair loss genes, they can pass these traits to their children. Different ethnic groups show varying patterns of genetic hair loss. Men and women can both inherit hair loss genes from either parent. Female pattern hair loss shares genetic origins with male pattern baldness. Multiple genes work together to influence hair growth cycles. Hair loss genes can be either dominant or recessive. Environmental factors can trigger or suppress genetic hair loss traits. The timing and pattern of hair loss often matches what previous generations experienced. This helps doctors predict future hair loss patterns in younger family members. Genetic predisposition and hair follicle biology. Scientists have found multiple genes linked to hair disorders and hair loss patterns. Some genes affect how the hair follicle forms, while others influence its growth cycle. Research shows that hair follicle development starts during embryo growth. Some people inherit genes that make their hair follicles more sensitive to hormones like DHT. This sensitivity often leads to pattern hair loss in both men and women. These genes control melanin production and can affect how the hair follicle functions throughout life. Androgenetic alopecia affects millions of people worldwide as the most common type of progressive hair loss. Androgens, particularly dihydrotestosterone, DHT, play a crucial role in hair loss patterns. These hormones bind to specific receptors in hair follicles, triggering miniaturization. Research shows that affected hair follicles become increasingly sensitive to androgens over time. Studies of family histories reveal strong genetic patterns in hair loss inheritance. Research has identified specific genetic variations that increase susceptibility to hair loss. Male pattern baldness stems from complex interactions between many different genes. Recent genetic studies have revealed that hair loss risk involves multiple genetic factors working together rather than a single gene. Scientists have identified 71 different genetic regions that influence male pattern baldness. The genetic signals affect various biological systems involved in hair growth and loss. Scientists have identified multiple genes implicated in hair growth, with new discoveries emerging through ongoing research. The WNT signaling pathway plays a key role in hair follicle development and maintenance. Genetic testing now allows people to learn about their predisposition to hair loss conditions.